The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the comforting silence of an empty room, or the gentle hush of night in the countryside. This was a suffocating, absolute silence, the kind that pressed against my eardrums until I began to wonder if I'd gone deaf. The air was thick, metallic. My footsteps echoed faintly as I moved through the derelict corridor of the station. The official designation of the place was IThoughtIWasAlone 6, a research outpost abandoned decades ago and left drifting in orbit around a brown dwarf star. My employer, a private exploration syndicate that traded information the way others traded commodities, had sent me to recover data archives rumored to hold invaluable records of pre-collapse genetic engineering. What I didn't tell them was that I'd heard stories of IThoughtIWasAlone 6 when I was a child, whispers of vanished crews, inexplicable power surges, and an echo in the dark that sometimes responded when you spoke aloud. I had never believed in ghosts. But as I moved deeper into the station, with the emergency lights flickering and old wires dangling like vines, I began to understand why so many rumors had taken root. The docking bay doors sealed behind me with a groan. I adjusted my helmet lamp and scanned the corridor. Patches of frost clung to the metal walls, thin as spiderwebs. Somewhere a fan wheezed, then went quiet. I tapped my wrist pad to bring up the station map I'd downloaded from the archives, but half the schematics were corrupted. Great. Blind search it is. Walk. 10 minutes 20. The corridors twisted and repeated, as if the place were trying to confuse me. I paused at an intersection to rest my aching legs, and that was when it happened. Sound. Not the creak of old machinery. Not the hiss of my own breath in my helmet. Voice. Low, steady, and distinctly human. I've been waiting for you. My light swept across the corridor. Nothing. Just a shadow that seemed a little too dense clinging to the corner, then dispersing when I fixed my gaze on it. Who's there? My voice came out cracked, too loud in the silence. No reply. I told myself it had been an audio glitch, some playback loop embedded in the ancient comm system, but my hands were trembling inside my gloves. The middle, the shadow companion. Hours seemed to pass as I searched the station, though my chrono said it was less than 2. I found remnants of a once thriving research hub, laboratories with shattered glass canisters, dormitories where beds lay unmade as if the crew had vanished mid-shift, and a mess hall with plates still stacked neatly. No bodies, no blood, just emptiness. And always the sense that I wasn't truly alone. I tried to shake it off until I entered what looked like the main data chamber. Here, consoles were still lit, though dimmed with age. The hum of backup power filled the room like the faintest heartbeat. I knelt beside a terminal, set my drive into the port, and began the download sequence. That was when I felt it, the faintest disturbance in the air behind me, like someone leaning close enough to breathe against my neck. I spun, and saw her, or rather its outline. A figure formed from shadows, edges blurred, as though space itself refused to hold its shape. The face was the only part clear, a pale mask with dark eyes too large, too knowing. You came, the figure whispered. The same voice I'd heard in the corridor. Feminine, soft, carrying the weight of centuries. I stumbled back, hand fumbling for the plasma cutter on my belt. Stay away. She tilted her head, curious, almost amused. You think you're the first. Well, they all came, one by one. And they all left something behind. What are you? The figure stepped closer, though her feet made no sound on the metal floor. I am the memory of IThoughtIWasAlone 6. The reason your kind still dreams of immortality, even as your bones remind you of decay. She gestured to the console I was downloading from. That data. Do you even know what it contains? I swallowed. Genetic records. Experimental blueprints. That's all. Her smile was unsettling, too sharp. It is more. It is the key to ending death itself. They built me to guard it, to wait until one came worthy of carrying it forward. My wrist pad beeped. Download 34% complete. I tightened my grip on the cutter. Why me? Her gaze bore into me, and for a moment I thought I felt something rifling through my memories. Childhood flashes, my failures, the debts that had driven me to take this mission. Because you already carry the hunger, she said softly. The same hunger that consumed the crew before you. What happened to the crew? As she spoke, fragments of the station's history bled into my mind like spilled ink. I saw scientists, bright-eyed, working tirelessly in these very halls. They had spliced genes, altered human embryos, tried to design bodies that could survive forever. But the more they achieved, the more desperate they became. Longevity wasn't enough. Immunity wasn't enough. They wanted perfection, ascension. And then they made her. Not quite human, not quite machine. A living archive, grown in a vat but tethered to the station's neural network. Her purpose? To hold the knowledge until humanity was ready. But the crew had disagreed on what ready meant. Some wanted to release the data, others wanted to bury it. Arguments escalated into sabotage, betrayal, murder. In the end, no one survived. Except her. I staggered back, breaking the vision. My heart hammered in my chest. You killed them. They killed themselves, she replied evenly. I only watched. Waiting. Always waiting. Download 72% complete. My instincts screamed at me to abort, to leave this cursed station and let her rot here forever. But another voice, the greedy, desperate one, whispered that if she was telling the truth, if this data could truly alter human destiny, then leaving without it would doom me to a lifetime of obscurity and debt. I forced myself to steady my hands. So what happens when the download finishes? She stepped so close her shadowy form almost touched me. Then you choose. You can take it and carry the curse with you. Or you can destroy it and me with it. Choice. Download complete. The wrist pad chimed and the console went dark. I now held in my possession the culmination of decades of forbidden science, the very thing governments had once banned, the reason Eidolon 6 had been abandoned. I lifted the plasma cutter, thumb hovering over the ignition switch. One strike could melt the drive and erase everything. Her eyes glimmered in the half-light. If you destroy it, you'll save yourself. But humanity will never know what it lost. You'll die like all the others before you. Forgotten. And if I keep it, my voice was barely more than a whisper, then you will be remembered. The one who brought immortality back to mankind. The one who fulfilled our purpose. I hesitated. I thought of my debts, my failures, the empty years ahead. I thought of the stories I'd heard as a child, about shadows that spoke and never let you go. And I realized the truth. It didn't matter what choice I made. I was already part of her. The station lights flickered. My chest tightened, as though invisible threads were winding around my ribs. She smiled knowingly. You see now. You were never alone. I screamed and swung the cutter. The beam flared, slicing through the console, the walls, anything in reach. Sparks cascaded. Systems howled in protest. The data drive on my wrist pad glowed red and disintegrated under the heat. The shadow woman's expression didn't change.